All right, we'll call the public safety meeting for the city of Hudson to order on July 7th, 2022. Roll call. Joyce.
Here.
Randy. Here. Bill.
We're all here.
We're all here.
Yay.
Thank you.
We have a quorum.
Number 3, approval of the June 8th, 2022 regular meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, new business. Ordinance Chapter 225 and 226 regarding tobacco and electronic nicotine delivery systems. Chief Willems.
Pretty simple. Ran into a couple of snafus at the high school, especially this year, because our ordinance says 18, but federal law and state law say 21. So we weren't really able to enforce our ordinance. Makes sense to change the ordinance to comply with federal and state law and up the age of our ordinance from 18 to 21.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we send this to the council.
Second.
Any further discussion or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Move to council. Number 4B, crosswalk at 2nd Street and Myrtle Street. Chief Willem.
I had gotten an email from Councilperson Bruck saying that she has some constituents that are concerned with crossing the street in that intersection. It's a marked crosswalk. It's a state highway. I'm not sure that there's much more we can do about it.
Do we have a center line marker?
There was, as of the day of the parade, I have not seen if it's still there.
Did we order more when we took that issue up last time?
I don't know if we ordered more or directed. We would have had to direct.
We did, unless we haven't met. Yeah,
Well, but I don't know, I mean, we just ordered for First and Walnut.
Do you remember, Dean? No?
I remember getting you a price on it from Public Works, and that's the last thing I remember.
They're all not out, though. At least, I don't see them all down 35.
Okay. So should we send this to Public Works for ordering more?
Yeah, and a recommendation.
A recommendation to all right, I'll make the motion to make a recommendation to Public Works to order more and have a few extras available.
And does that include putting it on Myrtle? If it doesn't,
That'll include making sure one is there on 2nd and Myrtle.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I would just, I get it, 35, but it is the highway through the state, so we have to be careful what we can and can't do on it. So, and we don't want to litter the roads too much. Obviously, winter's a different subject, so.
Can you repeat your motion for me one time, Joyce?
I
don't have the shorthand pen, so.
Come on. I made the motion to send this to Public Works with the recommendation that they order some extras and make sure that there is one at 2nd and Myrtle.
Seconded by Bill Alms.
I had that part.
It's ALMS. Sorry.
Any further discussion?
I assume that with the reconstruct, the lines there are painted, freshly painted. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Seeing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Joyce. Jeff. The next item is 9th Street traffic. Mr. Jeff.
First time that we've talked about this in a month. So we put the new speed sign out there for about 9 days. It was just shy of 9 days. I suppose it was about 8.5 days that it was out there. I attached the one with the packet, but I had noticed that the threshold, the violation threshold said speed limit plus 10, which would be anything over 35 in a 25 zone. That seems a little steep to me in a residential zone.
Yeah.
So with the help of tech support from All Traffic Solutions, I was able to run a report with a violation threshold of speed limit plus 5, which is more realistic. So did all of you get that email with that second report?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a significant difference, right?
Compared to that,
Compared to the 10.
yeah.
Right, where out of 6,935 vehicles that traveled, and that was for northbound traffic only. This one doesn't do both directions like the black box did. So it was northbound only. Out of almost 7,000 cars, there were 36 violations. So that didn't seem too bad. But when you break it down to the +5, right? So anybody going over 30, that brought it up significantly, from 0.5% of all the vehicles that traveled that way violating to 6.5%. But at 6.5% of all vehicles traveling there, with the average speed still below the posted speed limit. From a traffic study perspective, Dean, I don't know if you want to weigh in, but to me that doesn't, that's about,
Well, as an
it's
engineer
less than
myself,
10, it's less than,
I would say
6 a day.
it's not making an impact, but it's whatever people are complaining about is the ones that they see that are bad.
right, which, according to the data, it's pretty significant between noon and 5 o'clock. Outside of those hours, which when we do enforcement down there, and we will do enforcement, and I'll tell my guys that I want tickets for over a certain speed.
Well, I think it's coming to
It might
zero
be-
tolerance policy
It might
throughout the
be,
city.
it might be people in the neighborhood getting tickets.
Isn't that normally what happens?
That's generally
You know?
what happens. So,
Right?
If that's what it takes, that's what it takes.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, so your new box, shows the
look at
speed.
report. Did you see it?
I saw it, yeah. Your new box shows the speed on it, right? That
Yeah.
you're traveling, and
Yep.
I noticed, there's something on the report that says people who slow down or something like that.
Right.
Tracks that kind of thing, so.
does.
I think potentially having the speed shown so people actually know what they're going instead of, looking down at their, speedometer or whatnot is probably helpful.
So Dean, we didn't have numbers before we put that stuff up, did we?
Yep.
So there was no marked difference. And as an engineer, would you recommend keeping that, what I would call an obstacle course up there? Or is it benefiting the slower traffic?
So you had the box.
Engineer,
I just need to think about this for a sec. So you had the box up there while the cones were still out, is that right, Jeff?
They were up there for 3 days while the cones were still out, and then the cones came out the following 5 days or so.
Okay, so it's kind of a mixed time frame or whatever.
Yeah, and as I was on the computer, you can kind of hover over the unit, and it
Okay.
will tell you what this data is up to that point. And it was pretty much the same.
It was
I
pretty
think the
similar.
85th percentile speed may have gone up a mile an hour or two. I think the 85th percentile was right at the speed limit. And after those came down, it was 27.79. So crept up a little bit once the cones came out, but
Yeah.
that's the only difference I really saw.
I know that Mike Mraz ordered some of the more permanent, removable but more permanent delineators to put out on 9th Street as well. I don't know what the status of them, if they've been delivered or not. I don't think they're out yet, but I would at least,
Council had
I'd approve that.
directed to have
Yeah.
those installed.
I'd be curious to see if we installed those and you put the box back up, how that would compare.
Well, the
between
biggest,
two.
I think the biggest
The ones that don't move.
Right, I think the biggest thing is to see the impact during the school year, because the data that we had previous to this was during the school year, and that was a huge problem.
Right,
That was a significant issue down there.
right at 3 o'clock and, or 2:45.
Right. So,
And anecdotally in the morning when people are going to like.
but really
whatever.
the morning isn't that, it's, you're talking about 6% of the vehicles, 4% of the vehicles in the morning, but it rises to 10% in the afternoon. So,
so what I'm asking is there enough impact? Is there enough impact as far as extreme traffic taming measure to leave it or to put something more permanent? Now, if you're an engineer, you look at these numbers, would you say no or yes?
I'd say I don't know yet because this counting mechanism
Is
It's
inconsistent?
different than the one before because it has the speed showing on there, and whereas we didn't have that before. And so that message being sent to people might be changing things,
Okay.
how they're interacting with the speeds out there. So I would say that we probably will need to continue to look at this, especially after
The
the
school
delineators
year
are put up. I would still do that and do some more analysis or whatever on it, keep collecting speeds, and it would be probably helpful during the school year, say in September sometime, to like do this again and see if that changes anything, and then we can compare that to when we counted during the school year, 2 years ago or whenever that was that we first did it. Yeah, so I would continue to keep analyzing it at least for the next few months until the school year starts.
Continue it and then revisit in September meeting?
Yeah, let's see, this is July, so,
Well, your
When the
September
schools
meeting's
start?
probably not gonna,
Too soon?
it probably would be too soon. I'd say probably October would be better.
October.
okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so you don't know if the materials have been received yet for?
I know he's ordered them. I don't know where they're at with that.
Bill?
Bigger picture, is this indicative of an overall speed issue within the city? Chief? What's your perspective there?
Well, it depends, right? What's the tolerable limit? What's the issue? I mean, speed zones are absolute, right? Technically, if you're going 26 and a 25, you're violating,
Right.
right? Realistically, there's no way we can stop everybody that's doing that.
Have you, I guess my question is, have you been ticketing more? I mean, is there an uptick in ticketing?
No,
Gotcha.
no. There's not been a huge increase in traffic stops for speed-related violations.
Got it.
That's not to say that certain neighborhoods don't have more of a speeding issue
Sure.
than others. And that's what we look at, right? That's what this data provides us, and it gives us a time frame of the time of day where enforcement would be more practical, right?
Do you have a consistent officer threshold of when to write the ticket? Like over 5, less than 3, what, is there?
Really, it depends on the officer, but, an initial stop can start anywhere from 8 over to 10 over, and then, we start writing a little higher than that.
So us, being as the safety committee, if we directed an initiative to nothing, over 5, you're getting stopped, over 5 miles. How do we do that to implement the safest and quickest way to reduce the speeding in Hudson on our roads?
Yeah, it would be enforcement, generally, That's the most practical.
And we need to come up with a threshold that you can spread to the officers without stepping on your perception, your officer's perception.
Discretion?
Yeah, discretion.
Right.
'Cause that's, I don't want to do, and I don't want to make this a moneymaker. By law, we can't. But we need to tame our traffic in the city.
Right.
Well,
Maybe that's something
maybe,
you want to think about and talk with your senior staff and.
Well, yeah, it's something we can think of. But the one thing you caution on that is if you put it, hey, I want everybody going 6 over stopped, right? Well, now a third of the population, maybe less, is getting stopped at 6 over, and other people aren't. Just because we don't have, right? I mean, we don't have the resources for something like
The
that.
word
So
will get
that's
out that we're pulling people over. I hate to be that way, but otherwise, we're gonna continue to get these issues on our agenda, and we can't do anything. We can't sign our way out of a speeding issue in the city. We can't afford it, for one. I mean, yes, it's labor intensive, but that's why we have police department.
well, but, I mean, eventually, all of the streets should be properly designed to maintain the speed limits as we redo the streets.
That day will be a
You
long
wish
time
it
from now, probably, but
It's going to be a long time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean, that's a long-term solution, but right now, we.
right now, I agree.
Get that,
And it's a tough balance between becoming a city that's known as a speed trap when we are also a we want to be a destination for tourists.
Yeah, well, you talk to anybody who's lived here over 30 years or more, or a little less. You know that when you go over the North Hudson, you don't speed. You know they're gonna pull you over. You know where they sit. You don't do it. So I really think Jeff should, under your discussion, come up with somewhat of a policy, bring it back to us, have a chat with your senior staff, and we'll go from there. Because otherwise, we're gonna be doing these issues now until we're out of these chairs.
As long as we have wide streets, we're going to have,
Well, it doesn't
Public Works
matter,
Deal
'cause
with that.
some of them aren't real wide, and
no, and they're still doing it.
there's still a perception that there's an issue of speed. So, Chestnut, for example.
Well, Chestnut is wide, and they don't have a lot of parking on
That
it.
was, yeah, that
And there-
was,
that's the biggest issue, is that because there's very few cars parked on Chestnut, it's wide open.
we're gonna put Jersey barriers everywhere up there, so you guys. But on a serious note, I think that's something that we should go forward with. Yes, and I agree with leaving this in until we get some school data at the start of the year, and then revisit it in October.
October's good.
And that is a motion, or we don't really need
We
a
don't need a
motion, it's already in
motion.
place. You guys know what we need to do, but Jeff, I strongly encourage you to do that. Any further discussion on that? All right. Informational items. Anything? Thanks, Dean. Number 6, EMS update. John's not here. I would like to introduce to the public our new fire chief, Drew Spielman.
Yep.
If you would take the podium and just give a few brief words, a little background, and this is out for the general public's viewing pleasure. And welcome to the city of Hudson.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So just a little background on me. I actually grew up in Menominee. So I graduated high school there, went to school for firefighting in Appleton, got hired in the city of Green Bay, and I was over there for 23 years. Was a battalion chief prior to coming here. So the big goal for my wife and I was to get back in the area for family. My parents still live in Menominee. Her parents live in Ham Lake over in Minnesota, so that was the ultimate goal coming back. And it's been an absolute pleasure so far. Everybody has been more than helpful trying to get me situated to the area, and a beautiful area that it is, for sure. So no, it's been really good, so I really appreciate it.
So big question is, Green Bay Packers or Viking fan? I mean, you were over there.
Well, I was.
Your wife is over Ham Lake or
Well,
family.
this is gonna floor everybody. I'm actually a Bears fan.
Oh, no.
So if I said Packers or Vikings here, I wasn't gonna win either way with half the crowd. So you
Yeah.
know, but no.
He already thought that one. Well, talk to police and fire
Yeah.
commission.
Yeah, but yeah, I've been a Bears fan since I was a little kid. So
That's
good
too
and bad.
That's
And
unfortunate.
they're bad. So
Well, welcome to the
Thank
city
you.
of Hudson, and we are looking forward to working with you.
absolutely.
Don't ask for any new buildings or anything, because
You've got one.
we'll be moving on from that.
Okay. Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any other updates you can have?
Sure. I just jotted a few things down. Just year to date. June calls. We're at 46. We had 44 last year in 21, so we're just up a little bit. I can report that we had no firework-related incidents over the 4th, which is excellent considering the amount of fireworks I heard going off in the city. That's amazing. So yeah, we had none of that. It was busy up to the 4th, and actually we were quiet on the 4th, so it was good. So
Great.
One question, do we have Marine One in the water?
yes, it is.
Okay, so we're not have to pulling it back and
No,
forth? Oh,
no, but it's at a transient dock right now, from my understanding or that's where it's at. We're trying to find a more permanent facility for it.
Okay,
And it was used Sunday for a call out at, is it Mudcat Island? Mudcat?
Yeah, catfish.
Catfish, I'm sorry, yeah, south of here.
Yeah.
They didn't quite get to the call. The sheriff's department brought the patient in.
And
But
that,
it did go, and operated exactly like it was supposed to, and
I was just concerned about our time to get out there and whether it was being hauled down there or.
it was, so they came all the way down to the boat landing, Troy boat landing, and from the time it paged, I believe they got out by us was just over 10 minutes, which isn't bad considering the distance they had to travel in the water, so.
Yeah. Okay. If you need help with that, make sure you let us know, or the mayor or city administrator, where we can dock that, besides either the marina or the Gordy's dock on.
Yeah, it's at Gordy's dock right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and not ideal, I don't think. There's a lot of public that goes through there.
Right.
I know some of the guys had mentioned it's already kind of become a trash can, people walking by, throwing stuff in it.
I would talk with the mayor about
Okay.
the marina. And I know, is the EMS boat still there?
The police boat?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, the police boat is down there, the sheriff's department boat is down there, the DNR boat is down there.
Also, it's getting thick. Yeah, okay.
So, okay.
Thank you. Any questions?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Jeff, updates.
Another successful booster days. It was busy. I think there were about 11,000 people in town for the fireworks, by our estimates. So that was good. Just getting people out of here afterwards is, kind of an all hands on deck thing. But other than that, it was pretty good. Pretty typical call volume for a booster days. A lot of activity on the islands this year. A lot of people were camping out there all weekend.
Well, I noticed a lot of police and sheriff presence at the fireworks. We were sitting right near the entrance to the Dike Road and saw a lot of them going past, so that was good.
We had a lot of people in town, and we had a lot of law enforcement in town because of that. So, but it was good. We had nothing major happened, like Chief Spielman said. Very few even complaints for fireworks, so people were even aware, hey, it's the 4th of July, we'll let it go this weekend, and I'm sure that will not continue, right? We're gonna start, people are gonna be shooting fireworks all year long, so.
Right.
We kinda have a more lackadaisical response to fireworks complaints, especially the earlier ones, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, but once it gets beyond, 10 or 11 o'clock at night, then it's time to, let's shut it down a little bit.
And it sounded like it, most part it was like.
And, and people, have been better about talking to their neighbors about their intentions to fire some fireworks off and getting kind of everybody in the neighborhood on board, and I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. Strength of force?
I'm sorry?
Strength of force?
Strength of force, we're just one short. We've got 2 out on medical leave. But we're hopeful to get one of those back by the end of the month, and hopeful that the other one comes back by the end of the second month. So
Okay. Good.
we're doing okay.
Keep us posted on that as well.
You just had a good successful event, too?
Yeah, we just had our first in about 5 years, Coffee with a Cop up at the Joe to Go, which was nice because they had the farmers market up there at the same time.
sure.
So we
Oh,
got to
great.
meet a lot of people that we don't normally meet, right? So that was a very good event. We're hoping to try and do one of those once a month, especially when the weather is nice, where it can be outside like that. Because last time in the past when we've tried that, we've gone to a coffee shop and
Yeah.
you get about 3 people that show up
Limited.
inside the coffee shop, right? So having an atmosphere outside where people can freely walk up to you when they're doing other things, it makes the experience a lot better for everybody.
How many officers did you have out there?
I think at one time we had 7 out there. We even had one that came in on his day off with his family, so,
Good.
yeah. So it was good. It was a good event. So there will be more of that going on. There's, Officer Wildman has already been in contact and working with the school district to do, 4, I believe, right now we have, through the community education, just community safety type things. or awareness. Like there's a class that we'll be putting on that talks about how it's for elderly people to not get scammed as much. Just some information like that. There's a gun safety one where we'll give away some gun locks if people want them and talk about safe storage and handling of firearms, responsible gun ownership type thing. There's a self-defense class coming up. That's not intended to make participants a black belt by any means, but basically how to harden themselves as a target, right? So just things to be aware of, things to, places to go and places not to go, so that you can be less likely to be a target. And if you are a target, here are a few things that you can do to try and make it better. So we've got that stuff in the works.
Beautiful outreach. That'll go a long ways.
That'll be coming out. So that position has been very successful so far. So
Good.
Great.
And both you and the lieutenant look good on TV for the parade.
you watched it on TV?
Heck yeah, why would I go in the rain?
I was there.
Yes, you were.
Yes, I was. My granddaughter loved it.
Camera zoomed in on you guys.
Yeah, I know. I was having fun with Jeff there for a while.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Number 7, communication and items for future agendas. Anything?
Can't think of anything.
Number 8,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good